Max International is pleased to have Dr. Daria Davidson present the health benefits of Max N-Fuze, a product that provides optimal nutrition from advanced science. What is it that makes Max N-Fuze so extraordinary? Dr. Davidson explains.
N-Fuze is designed to work perfectly with Max GXL to support the rest of the story for your cells. At any given time, there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions or even billions, of chemical and electrical reactions occurring inside every single cell in your body, and you have trillions of cells. And so it's a complex little world. We don't know about it. It's happening outside of our vision, but it's happening for sure. So when you look at Max N-Fuze, they've done a few beautiful things. First of all, they looked at the research. They looked at how much of different vitamins would be the optimal amount. They've also looked at some herbs that have been shown very well in the literature to improve ATP production, to support glutathione production, to help with other key enzyme systems in your cells called catalase and superoxide dismutase. And these are important. They're not as important as glutathione. Glutathione is by far the guardian of the cell, truly the guardian, but SOD and catalase do an awful lot of work. Coenzyme Q10 does an awful lot of work inside of the cells. So when you look at all the little pieces, how do we keep ATP production up? How do we put the fires out inside of the cells? How do we keep toxins out of the cells? How do we keep all of the enzymes working well within the cells? It's complicated. And so N-Fuze was designed to answer that need. And so when you look at N-Fuze, there's a couple of really unique features. First of all, it uses nanotechnology. Now, we've heard of nanotechnology in the computer world and all sorts of areas. It would be like saying this is the moon and this is a marble and this is the size of the moon if we nanosize it. So if you can take a bigger molecule and nanosize it, it moves very easily into the cell because nanoparticles are less than N-Fuze less than 64 microns. They're tiny, 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 tiny. And so the cells easily admit them. But here's the challenge. With nanotechnology, with the molecules that you can fold into that size, they'll stick to each other. So now if I've got a lot of nanoparticles, they may be very tiny, but if they all stick together, I have a big clump of nanoparticles, and that is not going to move easily into the cell. So what they've done with Max N-Fuze is they've taken clustered water, which is water that has a gentle ionic charge, and it typically forms a cluster of about 6 water molecules. And it opened up the cluster, placed a nanoparticle inside of the water cluster, and let the cluster close back on itself. So now we have a nanoparticle surrounded by water. Well, water does not need to be transported actively into your cells. It is invited in. There's no big complicated transport system involving many different mechanisms and enzymes to get water into the cell. With N-Fuze, the water is what the cell sees, and inside it is the nanoparticle. So the nanoparticles get into the cells almost instantaneously, and I'm serious about that. And so with N-Fuze, the first thing that they did is they said, okay, how do we deliver these components for cellular health into the cell and know that it's getting there? Now, in addition with the N-Fuze, they also did some macro technology. In other words, they took the general nutrients. They did not nanosize everything for 2 reasons. One is because some things can't be nanosized easily, and honestly, because if you read the label, you want to see some of the things that you're used to seeing. If you nanosize a particle and it gets right into the cell 100%, you know you don't need very much of it. And so if a very tiny amount of a nutrient is all you need, you wouldn't be able to make sense of the label. So what we see with N-Fuze is a combination of a nutrient base. It's very rich, designed to support specifically the function of every cell in your body. Not every function of every cell, but the ones that all cells have in common, as well as the nanotechnology to support that in addition. With N-Fuze, I love it because it's a liquid. So a lot of people don't like taking capsules. Max GXL is a capsule. N-Fuze is a liquid. Now it's a liquid because of the clustered water. If you'll put it in your mouth and just swish it around a little bit, it'll start absorbing right through the membranes of your mouth, even before you put it into your stomach. It's once a day. It's incredibly convenient. It's designed to work perfectly with the Max GXL, including improving glutathione production even more, or at least supporting its recirculation. And so that combination of Max GXL and Max N-Fuze absolutely answers the need for the cells immediately. Now, when you look at what's in there, there's a little confusion because it contains a lot of nutrients, and it contains, for example, the amount of vitamin B6 that would be found in 70 eggs. Now, does that mean that you should go eat 70 eggs? No. But what we know is that it takes a lot of vitamin B6 to support the cells in your body. And the amount that's in there would be equivalent of you having to eat 70 eggs, but it's not an excessive amount of vitamin B6. It's simply the amount that we know the cells need for optimal functioning. In addition, it's got the amount of vitamin C of 4 oranges, the amount of vitamin A of a cup of spinach, the amount of vitamin B2 of 6 cups of almonds, vitamin B5 of 3 pounds of cauliflower, vitamin E of 6 pounds of avocados, the vitamin D of 8 glasses of milk, and the folic acid of 40 spears of asparagus or 50 cloves of garlic. It contains the same amount of selenium as 3.5 pounds of raw tofu, the manganese of 6 cups of garbanzo beans, the niacin of 5 large potatoes, the zinc of 4.5 cups of green peas, the biotin of 28.5 cups of Swiss chard. You get the idea, and that's not it. There's more things that are in there. And so when you look at N-Fuze, do I want you to eat well? Of course you should eat well. You should drink good water. You should breathe fresh air. You should eat good quality food. You should support your cellular health. Glutathione with certainly directly with Max GXL, and then N-Fuze for supporting all of the rest of the structure and function of your cell. And so when I look at the combination of Max GXL and Max N-Fuze, that creates a foundation. So sometimes the question comes up, well, do I need to do anything else? And you know, yes, you may. If you are a person who's anemic, you're probably going to want to go and buy yourself something to help your iron go up. That's not in Max N-Fuze, and it's designed not to be, because iron is good for some cells and it's toxic for other cells. And so this is a component that gives you the foundation of health to support the structure and the function of every single living cell in your body. When I look at this, and I love what Max International has done, because Dr. Keller, when he came up with the foundation for Max GXL, it was truly, truly a breakthrough. I just love the fact that Max International is taking on the role of being a world leader in glutathione research, development, and deployment. Max GXL, it answered the problem that we could never answer before. I started taking it literally. I ordered it the day I learned about it and looked at what it actually was able to do. I've used it now for over 2 years. When N-Fuze became available, I started using that immediately too, because it supplied what the rest of my cell needs for its optimal functioning. Glutathione is the guardian of the cell. It has been fighting for your well-being from the moment you took your first breath, and it will be doing that as you take your last breath. N-Fuze provides a foundation that supports the rest of the cellular function. When we look at the benefit of catalase and superoxide dismutase and CoQ10 and all of the cofactors and coenzymes, it provides that for me. So people ask me, do you take them both? And the answer is absolutely. Why did I start taking N-Fuze? Because it answered the problem. Before that, I was having to mix and match, and I'm pretty knowledgeable about nutritionals. It was hard to get a combination of things that would support the health of my cells. And so this makes it very simple. I believe in simple strategies. I love delightful results, and I get that with Max GXL and the addition of Max N-Fuze.